Okay, next bit of Guild Wars 2 news is yesterday. I was busy yesterday, so I wasn't able to get to this until just now. They released a blog post, and I don't know if this is going to have any juicy information, so recording it just in case. The Bare Necessities, a peek at the Lowland Kodan and the story of Janthir Wilds. Hey there, this is Indigo, the Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds narrative lead, and Chloe? I don't know what the little things above the E mean. The expansion story design lead. Would love to walk you through a high-level look at the Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds story to help set the stage for launch next month. The story of Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds is a treasure trove of intrigue and lore, both past and present, and we'll be encountering a variety of allies and enemies as we venture into the long-awaited region of Janthir. We'll be picking up right where Soto left off. Let's dive in. Please note, light spoilers ahead. We'll be teasing a little bit about the region and current affairs surrounding the start of the expansion. If you'd rather go in totally unspoiled, you'd best skip this one. As someone who is dedicated to bringing you the news every day, I hate this right now. Because I'm going to read this for the people that want to hear it. And give myself spoilers. And I don't want to do that. But I'm going to do it. Because I love you. So, you have been warned. Alright? If you're watching this live, I'm dragging this out for a few seconds so you can mute it if you are watching this on YouTube later. I'm dragging this out to give you time to pause it. Alright. Here we go. There is a picture of lag. There we go. Alright, this is just rocks in a river and some deer and stuff. Alright. Bridging Guild Wars 2 Soto. To get things going, let's look back at last year. Following the end of the Dragon Cycle, Tyria had no idea what the ramifications would be. As we learned in Soto, Suwan's death caused a powerful blast of magical instability that fractured all sorts of magical forces and barriers within Tyria. Orion immediately went to work reestablishing herself as a filter for those magics, and stability was quickly restored, but we've only just begun to understand the consequences of that transfer of power. Right at the onset of Soto, the commander was thrown into uncharted territory. We learned that the World Spire, a powerful conduit forged by Wizard Isgarin, was fractured following the blast. The Spire was one of the few barriers sitting between us and potential calamity, and it only took a moment for denizens of a parallel realm to worm their way in. And thus the commander was introduced to the long-fought war between the Astral Ward and the Cryptus. And we got a picture here. This looks like that big Leviathan thing that's stuck in the Jade in Gyaladelv. I don't know if that's the same creature. Through the story of Guild Wars 2 Soto, the commander aids the Astral Ward in rescuing the Wizard's Court while toppling the malevolent Cryptus King Eparch. While the fight against the Cryptus was won, there are a lot of stories left to be told about our wizardly new friends. The Astral Ward has proven to be a worthy ally with a benign cause, but we've barely touched the surface of some of their more questionable choices, not to mention their cantankerous leader Isgarin. Dude, questionable choices is right. Everything in Skywatch Archipelago is like... You know, wizards have no sense of right and wrong. Everything. They're like, yeah, so we made an island where, in this pocket dimension, the bad guys win, and the good people are all living in as slaves, and they're tortured, and, their lives are living hell, and we study them. Why? Here's my hypothesis. They don't like it. Like, why? Why did you make this island? Dude, they're freaking horrible people. Absolutely horrible people. Oh my lord. The Cryptus did nothing wrong. Not to mention their cantankerous leader is Garin. We know they helped in some ways, but why didn't they get involved sooner? Where do we even start with the Fractal fiasco? Time to pull us back to the present. While the commander, now Wayfinder, was fighting back against Eparch and Naos, the threat of the Cryptus didn't go unnoticed by the rest of Tyria. In fact, that threat was very much noticed and nations started talking. At the start of Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds, the commander will receive an invitation to the inaugural meeting of the Tyrian Alliance. And oh boy, do they have a lot of thoughts about our latest demonic invaders. Oh, so they find out about all of it. Okay. After everything the world has endured, Tyria's patience with destruction is limited. While we want... Notice they cropped her feet. They knew what you freaks would do. While we want to keep some of the minutiae surrounding the Tyrian Alliance under our hats for now, including our lavish host of guest appearances, in addition to providing the player with a new directive, the Alliance also gives us the ability to demonstrate Tyria's growth outside of the main story path. What's happening in the rest of the world? How are things progressing when we're in the thick of adventure? It's just a totally random thought. I'm someone who came from other MMOs, and occasionally, through the lifetime of an MMO, they show characters, aging. And I am noticing, I'm going to change the view here just a second. You might have like Thrall, and then the next time you see Thrall, he's got like, gray hair. Or you've got Anduin, and the next time you see him, he's a surly teenager, and so on and so on and so on. I don't know that I've ever seen them ever since, was it like, Gwen in Guild Wars 1. I don't know that we see that much. Because I was just looking at the queen, and I'm like, wow, she doesn't have a single gray hair. That was my first thought when I saw her. And I'm like, after all these years, you'd think it would have changed a little bit, but no, not yet. No, she's a mesmer. Maybe she's like an old crone, and she's just keeping that illusion up to keep Logan in line. That's entirely possible. I like that idea. All right, where were we? The Greater Janthir region. One of the results of the First Tyrian Alliance meeting will send the commander and a very small team of allies into the dangerous wilds of Janthir region, starting due north of Divinity's Reach near the Crichton border. Hold on. Okay, so here's Divinity's Reach. There's due north, Isle of Janthir, Janthir Bay. All right, so it's somewhere out there. Okay. The initial focus of our mission is to establish a diplomatic connection with a small faction of Kodan. The Lowlanders, while hesitant, welcome us into their village. We spend some time getting to know their culture as we explore the lowland shore, which we'll dig into a bit more in a moment. Partway through the story, we'll be pulled even further into Janthir. That's when we'll make our way into the Isles themselves. Excuse me. The Bay is rich with history. Bloody, brutal, sullen history, and we've never strayed too close until now. We know that Saul and his fledgling White Mantle went to the Isles in search of something. Saul was the guy from the Deimos fight, I believe, right? Leaving with the Eye of Janthir. We also know that other conspicuous figures have ventured into the region too. On the first island we reach, Janthir's century will begin to unravel the tragic history behind the ruined village of Gavril. But that's a good spot to pause, because most importantly, bears. Lowland Kodan. One of the most exciting things to dig into has been our new faction of Lowland Kodan, who have called Janthir home for many generations. If they're not a new playable race, I started to say no one cares about this, but then I remembered Lorenity exists. Despite the region being voraciously dangerous and inhospitable, they are expert survivalists and have carved out a comfortable, even cozy way of life in these lands. All Lowlanders are capable fighters and learn survival tactics from the time that they are cubs. The Wayfinder will spend much of their time in Janthir learning about and learning from the Lowlanders, as they have much to teach. Wait, are we still going to be called the Wayfinder in that expansion? As a population isolated from the northern Kodan cousins for so long and living in a much different environment, they're a little different than the Kodan we're familiar with. Perhaps the most notable differences lie in their spiritual belief system. Unlike other Kodan who revere the will and balance of Koda, the Lowland Kodan hold in reverence the environment, the relationship they maintain with it, and the responsibility they have as stewards of the land. Rather than viewing themselves as enlightened protectors chosen by Koda, Lowlanders act out of a duty to maintain necessary balance in a harsh place where taking is easier than giving and survival can be difficult. These differences trickle down through other aspects of their society. Kodan leadership is typically a partnership between a spiritual mouthpiece of Koda, called a voice, and a physical protector called a claw. However, the Lowland Kodan have a claw as their sole leader, a feature of their society that goes back as far as anyone can remember. The claw is not without balance, though. A council that represents key roles in the village lends the claw perspective and advice. As the Wayfinder finds more time with the Lowland Kodan and begins to earn their trust, we'll gain more glimpses into their lives and the history as denizens of Janthir. And there's a picture of a few Kodan around a fire and one of the big new Lynx models. Heading north to Janthir, the inhabitants of Tyria are on the cusp of a new era. It's time for nations to ally and work together on a more global scale. Those seeds of alliance were planted under the threat of the Elder Dragons, but the need did not end with the Elder Dragons. As new threats rise, it's good to have friends on your side. What better place to start than with people living next door? The Lowland Kodan might prove to be valuable allies if we can earn their trust and convince them it's worthwhile to join the global conversation. We're so excited to be able to give some first looks into the narrative of Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds. There's so much fun existing lore and history to dig into and build upon with new stories and characters. We can't wait for you to experience it. And there's like a, looks like a natural hot spring type thing here, judging by the Steam. Pre-purchasing any edition of Guild Wars 2 Janthir Wilds before the expansion launches grants you the Homesteader title. The Whispering Secrets Pauldron skins in a box with your choice of one Serpent's Wrath weapon skin. And you can use your best friend Muckluck's referral link if you want to. Visit the official store page for full details on the items included in the Standard, Deluxe, and Ultimate editions, and then there's a link here that I'll have linked in the chat below. Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, it's a teaser, right? This whole thing was a teaser. There's not a lot of breaking stuff here. They just talk about like what is bringing us up there to Janthir in the first place and what we are going to do. Where is the Muckle plug on the page? Hold on, I'll link this in the chat for anyone who's interested in what we just read. And if you have any questions, problems, thoughts, concerns, speculations, predictions, put them in the comments down below. I'll fight you there.